So often the term arcade is misattributed to a game. If you believe some Redditors or forum posters, if something isn't ultra realistic, you should clarify it as an arcade title. That simply is not true. In its truest sense, an arcade title is just that. Something designed with a physical cabinet in mind, with gameplay mechanics built around limited time sessions and trying to be compelling enough for you to insert coin after coin. Think Sega Rally or Cruisin' Blast. With that in mind, it's hard to find a truer example of a modern arcade racing game than Formula Retro Racing World Tour, and it's all the better for it. A vivid and approachable driving title, World Tour is a sequel to the solo-developed Formula Retro Racing from 2020. Repixel8, aka Andrew Jeffries, back then created the flat-shaded retro experience on his own, before publishing it to PC and Xbox One and being surprised by how well it sold. So then came PlayStation 4 and thanks to CGA Studio, Nintendo Switch ports. For this sequel, Jeffries returns, but this time CGA has helped with game development too, amongst other elements, namely the track design and virtual reality support. This is still arcade racing in its truest form, with the time-based checkpoints you must adhere to alongside trying to overtake your rivals. Reaching first place on the most challenging difficulty level doesn't automatically mean you'll finish the race, as you may still run out of time. In fact, one glance over at the cover art and you'll be forgiven for thinking that this is the original game or some form of downloadable expansion. Nope, this is the full sequel, and here's why. The original Formula Retro Racer featured one car, a lonesome facsimile of a single-seater racing car which you drove around each of the 8 tracks. You could blast through each location in around an hour, the longevity coming from nailing the game on expert difficulty, as Justin Towell so eloquently put on the TraxionGG website recently. This time, however, there are 18 brand new circuits and 10 cars split into 2 handling types. It's also around 40% faster too. Then you throw in the VR and online leaderboards and you can see how much grander the scope is this time round. The quantity of courses isn't the main draw either, but the design of them. Paris features a nighttime Eiffel Tower, New York a giant Statue of Liberty recreation, each distinctively attuned to each area of the world. Take down the rolling hills of Wales, for example, adorning the surrounding environment of the Snowdonia track. Reminiscent of a road trip through the rolling hills, we could almost smell the Barrabrith. There's also great variety here, such as the steeply banked Indiana Oval, where timing a slipstream, which gives you a noticeable speed boost like a Red Bull Racing DRS system once close behind a fellow competitor, is key to a strong result. Not every venue is a home run, however, as we found Tokyo, for example, too high speed and spread the field out. Yet, make no mistake that you must unlock the tracks. Each race can be run across 3 difficulty levels: beginner, advanced, and expert. Points are awarded based on your results mixed with the selected difficulty, and they unlock circuits. The reward loop is moreish, if a little linear. As we've alluded to already, there are 2 main types of car, the second of which introduces a brand new handling model: drifting. In the regular race cars of this and the first game, you must drive them in a straight-laced fashion. Sure, you don't need to be on the absolute racing line to be quick, clipping every apex to perfection, but it is a far cry from, let's say, Ridge Racer, where going sideways through a corner became the preeminent driving style. If there's a tight corner approaching, brake and try to carry as much speed as possible without breaking traction. That remains. But the second style is some ludicrous, over-the-top drifting action. To initiate tyre destruction, simply use the left stick to turn. The drifting element is automatic. In a sense, you cannot not drift. This is not, however, inertial drift, where you must initiate a slide and then control it with both analog inputs. No, World Tour is a far more straightforward, traditional arcade experience. One input, one result, steer the other way to end the slide or transition into the next turn. Heck, small adjustments in a straight line results in a drift, which does feel slightly unnerving. You can use the touring car style vehicles on any track, but there are specific drift-labelled circuits designed to maximise this particular handling technique. Sometimes, like the tighter sections of Sao Paulo drift, the mechanics can sometimes appear to give in, leading you to slam into a wall, but most of the time, this is a simple slewing that raises a smile. Similarly, your AI-controlled rivals can look at sea, swaying down the straights or blindly ignoring your presence, but somehow that's part of the appeal. Occasionally, they can bunch together and cause the most almighty punch-up, car parts flying around with more veracity than a Will Smith slap. Hey, that's racing, sometimes it happens, but we do wish they were able to lap a little faster. One surprising asset to this sequel is the use of VR for PC players. Upon booting the game with an appropriate headset, you will see a reincarnation of an arcade machine, which you play World Tour within. Then, once you've selected the cockpit point of view, it works perfectly, adding an extra layer of engagement. The varied track designs, which are deeper in detail than the original, really pop in this mode. We did find that it wasn't clear how to recenter. We managed it by hitting the escape button on a keyboard while in the pause menu, so an on-screen prompt somewhere would be a handy addition. Drifting was more difficult with the headset too. However, this is a superb addition that brings the game to life, looking out of your window as the recognisable landmarks go by. Formula Retro Racing World Tour is unabashed in its simplicity. It harks back to yesteryear, but with some contemporary features. Recently, we've been going back and playing some older arcade-style driving games on the original PlayStation, and in many ways, World Tour reminds us of these experiences only with modern-day equipment. Sharper visuals, a cockpit camera, cross-platform leaderboards, 4-player local split screen and VR compatibility. They're all here, but the gameplay takes you back to that cabinet hidden within a leisure centre. It's old school, but that's its entire aim. There'll even be some form of physical release too, for the preservation purists. The Traxion verdict, from the possible options of avoid, consider, wishlist or buy now is wishlist. Simple, honest fun. Formula Retro Racing World Tour is available today, Friday 31st of March 2023, for PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. We tested it on PC and, full disclosure, we were provided a code for review. Were you a fan of the first Formula Retro Racer, and will you be buying World Tour? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're down there, consider giving this video a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. As always, thanks for watching, have a great day and keep it pinned.